Hold up, I am on my way, I'm in motion. Let's go to the ocean. Yeah, let's go outside. We can hang out on the beach without freezing.
Welcome to Crafty Beach. This is Julie. Today I have 30 watermelon Dollar Tree DIYs for you, perfect for summer. These are straight from the Crafty Vault, and they're some of my favorite summer DIYs. I hope you enjoy.
Okay, this is going to be a fun project, guys. I'm going to start off with 2 of the wood rounds from Dollar Tree. And we're going to make an actual tier tray, a watermelon tier tray, but we're actually making the tier tray too. So the 2 wood rounds are going to be the bottom of my tier tray. They're nice and big. And the reason that I have 2 is because they're super thin, right? But I thought if I put some of the Dollar Tree wood beads in between, we can make it nice and thick and chunky. Now, this is how we're going to change these little wood rounds into watermelons. These adorable little watermelon napkins they have in the summer section at Dollar Tree. They are almost the perfect size, and all you got to do is open it up carefully. You're going to want to remove the lining because they are like a ply watermelon. And whenever you're doing like decoupage, like if you can just work with one layer of the napkin, you're going to have better results. So once you find it, you can just peel that off like that. And basically, it's just a little bit too big, but that is fine. We're going to make it work. So first thing I'm going to do is put some Mod Podge. I'm using the matte Mod Podge, and I'm doing a thin layer because you don't need much for these napkins, especially a single layer. But you do want all of your wood round covered with the Mod Podge. This is, I think, the first and only tier tray that I have made from scratch. No, this was the first, not the only. I did make a beach themed one too, I guess. So I just kind of center that on there, and I'm just being very careful about smoothing that out. I don't want wrinkles if I can avoid it, but I want it to be as flat as I can. So working from the center, I kind of smooth it out, make sure my hands were nice and dry. And you can see the overlap on the edge. Basically, the green part of the rind, like the dark green part, is a little bit too wide, but we could always kind of simulate that once we get it all on there. So I've got it on there pretty flat, and then I'm going to go in with my heat gun and give that a good dry. I want to make sure the edges are really dry too, because I want to sand that to give myself a cut. A perfect cut all the way around, and I do that with just a sanding sponge from the Dollar Tree and sand off the excess napkin. I love these napkins. I always try to pick them up every summer because I think they're so cute. They're probably my favorite one out of all the fruit ones. And then this is going to be the bottom of it. So now that I have it covered with watermelon, I can start thinking about putting this together. This is the round wood beads from Dollar Tree that are strung together. And I'm just kind of loosening up the end piece on each one of them because it's not quite long enough to go all the way around. So I'm going to have to use more than one. So this end I will just kind of start at. So I'll just kind of knot that several times. Not a big fan of that string in there. And then I can tie the next one on once I get this one attached. So I do a bead of hot glue, like one section at a time here. And I want like the wood beads to go like all the way to the edge to fill in like the gap in between the 2 signs when I put them together. So I do like half at a time there. That's how far one of those wood bead garlands will get you. I like using them strung up like this already because it makes it easier in placement. Now I just tied on my second one, and then I'm going to continue gluing that all the way around. And this is going to create a great side edge for my tier tray and make it nice and thick and chunky. So I got it glued all the way around. We have wood beads all the way around. I am going to paint those, but I thought it would be easier to glue those all on while everything was still kind of raw wood. I do use an extra bead of hot glue all along the inside just to help reinforce that a little bit and make it stronger. Now it's just a matter of putting the two together. So I'm going to do a bead of hot glue all the way around the bottom edge of the wood round that we covered in watermelon. And then lay the bottom on there, gluing the wood beads to that sign. So basically the wood beads are the joint in between the two, and see how thick and chunky it is now? It looks way more high end and more like, you know, a tray of a tier tray should look, I think. Now this is going to be the bottom tier, and I want it to have legs. So I'm going to use actually some of these little wood snowmen from the Dollar Tree upside down that I had left over from Christmas. They make perfect legs, so I always try to buy extra of those whenever the holiday season comes around. But you could use anything. You could also use like the little wood cubes and stuff like that. That would be a good leg as well. But I thought these would be nice and decorative, right? You totally can't tell they are a snowman when they're upside down. And I'm going to paint mine. I think this was leafy green, but I have more than one leafy green. This is pretty green. I think it's about the same color as my Christmas green. And I'm just going to paint all of our little legs that green color to go with my watermelon feel. Now, when my watermelon napkin was a little bit larger than my tier tray, I had to cut off all the green parts. So I'm just going to use that same green to paint all of the wood rounds and the sides of the little wood rounds there. And I used a brush so I can kind of get down in between the different beads there. And so try to cover up any of the exposed raw wood. And this is also going to look like the rind, you know, of the watermelon. And I don't really care if I get a little bit on the napkin because I do kind of want some of that to be on there as well. So once I get that all painted, I do use a tiny brush and just kind of blot like a kind of an abstract line, kind of distressed a little bit there. Like, you know, a watermelon rind wouldn't be perfect for sure. And just paint a thin rind right back on with that same color. Now our legs are dry. We can go ahead and attach them. I did a total of 5 because it's a pretty big tier here. I think it's going to need 5 for stability. And so I just kind of put those like in a shape of a star maybe, and then just start hot gluing those on. And don't those make really cute legs? I can't remember where I got that idea. I saw somebody do it, maybe on Facebook. So cute. Now, this is just the bottom tier. So next we'll be making the top tier for our tier tray. But if you just wanted to make a tray, you could leave it at this step and it would be super cute, right? But I wanted mine to be a tier tray, so we're going to keep building. So I needed a wood round that was smaller, and I found these. These are the ones with the words on them, which is fine because you're not going to be able to see that in the end, but they are a smaller wood round from the Dollar Tree, and you want a smaller size for your second tier. So I'm going to use those and some more of this wood bead garland. This is the older style that was on twine and a little bit longer. I liked this one better, but you know, whatever you can find at Dollar Tree. So what I want to do is have like hello and welcome both inside so they don't interfere with the design of my tray. And I'm not going to bother taking them off or anything like that because they're going to be hidden right inside of this tier. So just like before, I'm going to glue the wood bead garland to the edges just by using a bead of hot glue and wrapping that around. And then I can use that kind of like in between, like we did before, to attach those back to back. And that seemed to work really well. So that is definitely a way that you can get a smaller wood round from the Dollar Tree, even though they don't really have a plain one, I don't think. They have a close to one, the one with the frame around it now. It's kind of close. But I'm going to do the same thing here. A bead of hot glue all around the inside edges. And hello to welcome. we're going to glue this second tier together. This is going to be a 2-tier tray. And so this is constructed the exact same way the bottom tier was. And we're going to kind of decorate it the same way too. So I just make sure that I got all my labels off the back of that. And then we can use another one of these adorable little napkins for the top of it. Now, you know, decoupaging with napkins can be a little tricky. If you do get your Mod Podge on there and you get it on there and it's like really wrinkled or messed up, you can remove it if you're quick. If it does dry on there though, you're probably gonna have to sand it off a little bit, but try to go from the center. You have a little bit of play before it dries. As you can see, I'm kind of lifting mine a little bit to make sure that I can smooth it all the way out to the edges. And I just centered mine on there. So this top tier is basically just going to be the inside of a watermelon with that red pattern with the black sunflower seeds. And I love these napkins because they look so realistic, right? The different shades of red and stuff like that. And so just like before, I am using my sanding sponge, cutting off all the excess napkin. Perfect way to give you a perfectly round circle for your napkin. I'm just going to make sure that is dry as well. I don't normally like to do Mod Podge over the top of it if I'm working with napkins, if I don't need to. So I'm going to use that same leafy green color and a brush, and we're going to go ahead and paint the sides of this one green as well. And then I just need to find something to put between the two tiers to make it an actual tier tray. If you have like a Goodwill sale or like a Goodwill store or a garage sale or something like that, you could probably find some really cute like wood candlesticks and stuff like that. I really wanted to keep this to the Dollar Tree. It makes it a little bit easier for y'all. And so what I end up using is a Dollar Tree candlestick to do the middle part of mine. So painting this one the same exact way that we did the bottom, all around the edges, and then a slight watermelon rind all along the edges. Now for the rind, it kind of has a transition color in between, right? And so it's kind of a yellow color on the bottom tier. And so it's kind of a yellowish green, right? So I'm kind of trying to simulate that. Just because I didn't want the pink right up against the green, I wanted this to look maybe like a little bit of a smaller watermelon instead of just one piece of the watermelon. So I just do a thin line of that all the way around. And then follow that up with a white edge. And that gave me that same like watermelon rind that will be on the bottom tier. So it'll kind of make it match. It'll just be like a smaller watermelon. So I'm happy with that. I think that looks really cute. And so this is what I'm going to use for the middle part of my tier tray. Just a round ceramic candle holder. It's not too tall, so I'm not going to be able to put really tall stuff on the bottom tier of this. That's why if you had like a longer wooden one, it might work a little bit better for you. But this is going to be kind of a small tier tray. I want it to blend in with the watermelon insides that it's going to be sitting in. And so I am just painting it red. Now, painting that white ceramic, like a bright red, did require several coats of paint to kind of get good coverage. And I just want it to look like that juicy part of the watermelon. Once I get it dry, I also thought it'd be fun just to add some seeds to it. So I'm just using a black Sharpie, and I'm just going to kind of draw seeds all over. You're not really going to be able to see this too much, but I thought it would be a fun little detail to add to my tier tray. So I thought, why not? And watermelon seeds are super easy. You can just do ovals if you want, or you can get a little fancier and try to put a pointy end on it like a seed would look. And then I want this to stay together, so I'm going to use some E6000 to help make this sturdier. I'm going to use my candlestick upside down. So it has like a lip around the edge that sticks out a little bit further. So I'm going to do E6000 all the way around. I like to use E6000 when I work with ceramics and stuff like that. When gluing it, I just find that it makes your project a lot sturdier. But I'm also going to do some hot glue and separately to try to help that stay together temporarily until I can get all of that glue to dry. So I just turn that upside down, sit it right in the center of our bottom tier, and make sure that I'm getting really good adhesion there so that glues down. I'm going to do the same thing here on the top. I'm going to do a bead of the E6000 all the way around the edges. Follow that up with hot glue, kind of on the inside, just to help kind of catch that. And then we can add the top part of our watermelon. Doesn't it look so cute? Make sure you get it on there centered. Well, you still have a bit of wiggle room with that hot glue, and make sure that it is good and secure. And we did it, guys. We built a tier tray that looks like a watermelon. I think it's so fun, and everything was from the Dollar Tree, super inexpensive to make, and it was actually really fun. And here is a quick little preview. Don't worry, we will craft some stuff to decorate this as well. We can't leave this just plain like this, but I think it turned out so cute. The napkins were definitely the key to success on this project. Okay, time to decorate it. I told you we needed small stuff, right? So I thought we would use some of these little wood dice from the Dollar Tree, little wood cubes, to make some little like building blocks for the tier tray. They'd be nice and small. And I found some little phone grips, the little pop sockets from Dollar Tree. I found a watermelon one and a lime one. But I wanted to do just all three of the blocks, and I only had two. So I'm going to use some glass stickers to kind of finish off the last one. So I thought I would pick out some of my best, like fruity colors here. This is kind of, I can't remember what this is called. It's kind of like a yellow-green color. And so that is going to be my first one. I thought all of the little projects for this tier tray should be like fruit themed, not necessarily just watermelon. I thought it would be fun to mix it up with like all like these citrus fruits and stuff as well. So this cube, I'm going to make this one fire red. And so we're still staying with kind of those same color scheme with like the red and the green block. Then I thought for the third one, I wanted to have something kind of plain for the ceramic sticker that we're going to use. So I thought I would just do this one white. And these are kind of like, I guess they're shaped like giant dice, but they're a nice small size to make something for your tier tray. Now it's just a matter of drying them and decorating them. So I did this one like that, like lime green color, because I thought that would be like perfect for this little lime pop socket. And I always like checking all the aisles at Dollar Tree because you never know where you're going to find cool stuff. I found cool stuff like this in electronics a lot and in like bath supplies and stuff like that. Like they have a watermelon popsicle sponge right now. You can find some really cute stuff kind of looking off the beaten path. So it's just a matter of popping the pop socket apart. I don't need that. I just need the cute little lime, right? And I'm just going to attach that with hot glue. It's a perfect size for the little dice. Fits right on that circle in the front. It makes a tiny little decoration for our tier tray. So we're going to do the same thing here with the watermelon one. I think they also have like orange or lemon maybe, if you can find them. That would be really cute too. Definitely had to do the watermelon one though, since we were decorating the watermelon tier tray. So just like before, we're just gonna open this up and take that little watermelon off the popsicle and attach it to the round part of our little dice. Now, I wouldn't recommend using these pop sockets. My son went through like 2 or 3 of them in a row, and he's like, would you please buy me like a real pop socket? Because he fidgets with his a lot on his phone, and they would break immediately. But they work great for decor. So there's our little lime and our watermelon, and I only had 2 of those. So I thought I would use one of these little ceramic stickers and do that. I was going back and forth between I love summer and enjoy summer, and I think I decided on enjoy summer. So that's kind of how I love summer will look. It was a little bit bigger than I needed. But the Enjoy Summer, it has like a little hibiscus on it. It's super cute. And you don't have to use these on ceramics. You can stick these to anything. They're basically just really strong stickers. I'm just going to peel that and stick that on our little white dice. And we have 3 really adorable little decorations for our little tier tray. So let's keep making items. I told you I like to check all the aisles at Dollar Tree. I found a luggage tag that has a little watermelon gnome with sunglasses on eating a watermelon. So I thought that would be perfect. We can make a little sign for the watermelon tier tray with that. For this one, I'm going to use one of these little burlap signs from the Dollar Tree. I love these chunky signs. I haven't been able to find these lately. They have a misspelling on the front of them, and I think they had to take them off the market, but I wish they would fix the spelling and replace these because these were great. They're real chunky, heavy, and they're covered in burlap already. So I'm going to attach our cute little watermelon gnome to the front. He's just about the right size. He does have that little slit from the luggage tag on the top, but I'll show you how to disguise that. I do a bead of hot glue all along the little holder on the back there for your address, the little square, and just glue him to my sign. See, I told you can find cute stuff everywhere in Dollar Tree, so be sure to go down every aisle. And then to cover the little slit in his hat, I'm just taking some Dollar Tree twine and just going to tie a simple little bow there. It's going to serve as a decoration, but it's also going to cover that up. Easy peasy. I'm just going to attach that with a little bit of hot glue. And I have so many watermelon DIYs that I think I'm going to have to break this up into 2 videos just because I have a lot because I love watermelons for summer. So this next one is just one of these little wreath charms from the Dollar Tree. They're kind of chunky, but not really. And they're great for little signs, for a tier tray because it's not going to be real tall. So this is a butterfly wood. It doesn't really matter which one you get because we're going to customize this and make this look like fruit. I do start with a little spackle there just to cover the hole. It has a hole in there so you can like hang this. I guess it's a wreath charm or something like that. But I usually find other uses for these. So I'm going to start by I want a blank canvas and I don't want you to see that butterfly. So I just paint the top of it with some ivory chalk paint there. And what I wanted to do was to try to paint this and make it look like an orange. I told you I wanted to go with like summer and fruits for this cabinet that we're decorating with this tier tray. So I go over it with, I think this is like a pumpkin orange. And I had a nice white coat there, so 1 coat's definitely enough. And then I'm going to use just a white paint pen and draw a circle on the inside, a dot in the middle, and then just have to start doing lines, one side to the other. And what you want to do is form like the little orange wedges. So kind of like a cross pattern, and then you can fill in all the gaps. Then you can kind of round the corners on your orange to give you a little bit of that white stuff that's on the orange, the rind, and give it that orange shape. And this was so easy to make, and I think it looks just like an orange. If you wanted yours to be like a lemon or a lime, you could totally do the same thing. But I thought an orange would be fun. And I think it's just thick enough to kind of stand up on its own. You could always add something to the back if it's not. And then I'm going to use one of these little wind chimes from the summer section at Dollar Tree. They have these in like the ones with the markers, or this is like, I think the smaller one that's part of the wind chime. Basically, the only thing I'm looking for in here is that cute little watermelon that says summer vibes. So I was trying to think if I could use any of the other pieces, but probably not for this project. The only thing I don't like about the wind chime ones is that there are holes in the top and the bottom there to make it into a wind chime. So that's the first thing I'm going to have to do is just try to fill those holes up with a little bit of spackle. And then we can decorate this and make it look cute for our tier tray. So once my spackle is dry, I can start coloring this in. I thought a Sharpie would be easier than trying to get a paintbrush or in any of these spots. So I'm just kind of trying to stain the wood with my Sharpie. It actually worked pretty well. So just going around all of my letters. I want this to be really colorful. There's lots of different parts to this design. So I just want the watermelon part to be red. And you can still see the seeds coming through too. And then I'm going to use a green paint pen here for the rind. The lighter color green on the inside rind there. And then kind of a white background for this guy. So I just use a white paint pen. And I'm going to kind of go over all of the rest of it with that white paint pen, just because I wanted a white background. And since it's white, you're still going to be able to see the design through there. And I thought it was a little streaky, so I actually went back in there with some white acrylic. Now, I wanted a little bright blue for this one, so I used like kind of an aqua color paint pen for the vibes. And for the summer part, I could still see through there to put summer back on there. So I go back in there and just kind of re-add that to it. So it kind of has the same vibes, kind of looks like water maybe. And then I just use like a black ink pen to kind of draw my black border back on my letters. And then this definitely needed some definition. So I just kind of trace all of the letters back on there from where we painted that, touching it up a little bit as well. Just an easy little handmade watermelon sign. Looks super cute. I do need to add a block or something to the back. I just cut down a wood block that I had, made it smaller, and I'm just going to hot glue that to the back just to make this stand up on our little watermelon tier tray. Super easy, and I think this is going to be just about the right size. Now for the next one, I wanted like a circle, but I wanted a circle with a hole in it. So I thought this little picture frame from the Crafter Square at Dollar Tree would be perfect. And I just need to pop the back of it off without trying to cause any damage. There are like a couple of staples that stick out that were used to hold the hanger on. So I'm just going to use some pliers to remove those and little staples that hold on the back of the picture frame. The reason I wanted this specific shape is because I wanted to try to make a slice of pineapple, since we're doing that fruit theme, summer fruit theme for the watermelon tier tray. And then this is the color I'm going to use. It is goldenrod. There we go, goldenrod. And I thought this was the perfect color for a pineapple. See how this looks just like a slice of pineapple? Now that I have the frame off of it. You could leave the frame on it, but I needed these projects to be fairly small. So I just paint that great color of goldenrod, also painting the edges to make it look like a little slice of watermelon. Then I go back with like a yellow paint pen and I kind of draw those little striations that are on like a pineapple slice. Just little lines straight out all the way around, and it gave it that great look of a slice of pineapple. And then I go in with another color of yellow too, just to kind of emphasize that a little bit more. And then I thought that stood out a little bit too much, so I do go back in there with that original color and kind of distress, break it up a little bit. And it really gave you that look of a little pineapple slice. Now, just like before, I need a way to kind of stand that up, and I'm just going to use a little Jenga block from Dollar Tree and just glue that to the back of our little pineapple. So we have all different kinds of tropical fruit to decorate that little watermelon tier tray. So cute. And this is how it looked. I put my little pineapple there on the top, my little watermelon gnome. And then down below we have our little fruit blocks, our little watermelon summer vibe sign and our little orange there in the back. I didn't want to decorate it too much because I wanted you to still be able to see the watermelon on the tray because I think it looks so cute. And I decorated my cabinet for summer like this. It's so cute you can leave it out all summer long.
If you're enjoying today's video, be sure to hit that like button. And if you haven't, I'd really appreciate it if you subscribed.
Okay, the next one, I wanted to get super creative and see if we can make like a flower watermelon. So I found these red flowers. These are fall flowers right now at Dollar Tree with dark centers. I thought that would look like red watermelon with dark watermelon seeds, right? But I kind of want it to be a wedge so that you can really tell that it's a watermelon. So I'm going to use a wood round from Dollar Tree, and I'm going to try my best to cut this in half. So I'm just going to use a ruler to draw my line on there, and I'm going to take this to my saw. These signs from the Dollar Tree are so thin that if you don't have a saw, you can definitely cut through this with a couple go-arounds of like the X-Acto knife. You could definitely cut through it. My saw almost goes that far, but not quite, so I did have to cut it a couple of times, but it doesn't have to be perfect. It's just the back of this project. Now, I am going to paint it, and the only reason I'm going to paint it is in case you can see in between any of the red flowers. I don't want you to be able to see that raw wood underneath of it, so just a background of this fire red color. Doesn't really matter what color, just with something that's going to kind of match your flowers. I was really happy to find these flowers at my Dollar Tree today because I thought they were perfect. They were exactly what I was looking for, and they were in with their fall section. So the next thing I'm going to do is take some of the wider white rope from Dollar Tree. This is like the 6 foot, I think. And I'm going to make this into the rind of our watermelon. And I'm not going to leave it as rope. Basically, I'm using rope because I needed something flexible for the structure, and I thought this would be perfect and almost the perfect width, right? So I just cut it down to size, a little bit longer, but I can always trim it up later. And then I'm going to use that same fall green ribbon that I got at Dollar Tree and just glue that with hot glue onto my rope and kind of cover the whole end here at first to get it started. Getting this started was kind of the tricky part because you're kind of just going over the same place twice with the same ribbon. But basically, I want to wrap it like I wrapped the reform where you overlap slightly, not like entirely like it kind of started out. But once you get to about this point, it gets easy. So I'm just going to keep wrapping all the way down to make my rope green. And I thought this was a perfect color for a watermelon rind. If you wanted to add stripes to yours, you totally could. But once I got it all wrapped on here, I kind of loved the way it looked and I didn't want to mess it up. So all the way to the end of our rope. And then I'm just going to use some hot glue to glue that down. And then I can trim off the excess ribbon. And now I have a little flexible green rind for our watermelon slice. I had one area here where I kind of got started that didn't really look the cleanest, but I will shape that up when I go ahead and attach that to our little sign. Now, I couldn't decide if I was going to attach it to like the outside or actually attach it to the sign. I ended up attaching it actually to the sign because I thought that would make it a little bit sturdier. So it is going to be a little longer than I need. So I just start with a thin bead of hot glue on the outer edge of the wood round and push that like ribbon covered rope right down on there. And I was thinking I was really brainstorming what to use for the rind on this. And I'm so glad I came up with this because I think this turned out perfect. So just all the way around till I get to the end. And then just cut off the excess rope. Kind of have to saw through that stuff. And I'm just going to fix that one area that I wasn't real happy with. You won't be able to see it underneath the flowers. But it's starting to come together. It's got that watermelon slice shape so far. And now it's time for these cute little flowers. If you just pull them off, they do have a little bit of a stem on them still. I wanted to see if that would work. by attaching that with hot glue, but it was kind of all over the place. And then I realized I was going to have to trim those. I have had difficulty trimming Dollar Tree flowers before, that they fall apart when you trim that part off. But luckily, these did not fall apart when you trimmed them off. So it worked out perfectly. So I'm going to start here, right here in the center, in the bottom of our watermelon slice, and start covering this with these cute flowers. I think I ended up using 2 of the bundles. I kind of planned on doing a little bit bigger project, so I had bought 4. But I kind of wanted it to be shaped like a slice instead of round. So it kind of reinforced what this is, because it's kind of so abstract. So I just glue 1 flower on each side of that original one. And we're just going to keep following like the rind of the watermelon, gluing these down one at a time, kind of filling that up. And, you know, you might not have to paint the watermelon underneath of it. It was, I don't know, I can't really tell. But I felt like I had a lot of overlap between the flowers. And I'm just going to keep doing that all the way to the edge. I was hoping this looked like a watermelon, so I had to bring it out and show my son, and he was like, "Oh, I love it." And I'm like, "It's a watermelon." And he's like, "Well, yeah, I know." And I'm like, "Okay, good. I just wanted to make sure that he knew it was a watermelon." I think the shape definitely helps. I guess you could do like the quarter slice too. That would be cute. So I'm going to start on my second bunch here and my second row. And I decided to just kind of do like the flat side of my watermelon there. It looks like I need a total of 7 to go all the way across there. And then we can go back and fill in the center part of our watermelon. I had this project in my head, and I was like, surely somebody has done this before. And so then I Googled it to try to get some ideas, and you know, I couldn't find any. But I think it's so fun. So I'm going to go ahead and fill up the middle here. I don't want it too tight, but I definitely want it full. So 4 right there in the middle, I think, is going to work out. And there's our little slice of watermelon. I think it turned out so cute. Just trying to clean up any like loose little glue stems. Then I realized you could still see the rope, you know, because we did wrap it. And I kind of want to hang it at an angle like that, so you're going to be able to kind of see that. But first I'm going to make a hanger. So I just take some twine once I decided what orientation I wanted, knotted that off, and I'm just going to staple that to the back. The staple will totally be hidden by the flower, so that will work well. And then it's just a matter of covering those ends there that were a little bit exposed with the rope. So I'm going to use the same ribbon that we used to cover it and just cut down some little circles just to cover it and hot glue those little caps on just to finish this project off. And if you don't have like a wood round or any way to cut it, you could totally do this with like foam board. And foam board might be even easier because you could kind of push the flowers down into the foam maybe. It's just a matter of getting that perfect round shape, which can be a little tricky. So I'm going to kind of hang it at an angle like this, our little slice of watermelon. And this is how it turned out. I think it's so pretty and fun for summer. What do you guys think about my little flower watermelon slice?
It's definitely quirky and fun, something a little unexpected. It would make a really cute wreath for your front door as well. I actually used mine in my kitchen, hanging on the side of my cabinet for the summer. A really fun little idea.
Okay, the next watermelon DIY, I picked up these red placemats at Dollar Tree the other day. They're in with their summer section. And I thought these would be perfect to make into watermelon placemats for my table for summer. So I'm going to start by doing white around the edges. My plan here is to do 3 rows of white. Now, as you can see, it's like a spiral that comes from the center all the way to the outside. So you're not going to get like 3 rows like evenly all the way across. there will be a transition period where you kind of have to go in between the lines a little bit, but you can figure it out. It's not too hard. Now, I used a foam brush. I felt like it didn't get down into the fibers as much as I would want. So I did go back with a second coat of ivory with a brush so I could kind of like get it down in there a little bit more. And I think that helped. Now we're going to do the different shades of green for the outside of the watermelon. And so I'm going to start with leaf green, and I want like the second layer, second row to be this light green color. And so I just use a small brush and I go around. I went ahead and painted it all white so that I would have a nice background. So I wouldn't have to paint directly onto the red mat. And I'm just going to go all the way around with this. Now, you could skip this color of green if you wanted, and you could just do one row of white and then one row of dark green. I wanted mine to be a little bit more colorful, so I'm going to do one white, one leaf green, and one Christmas green. And I think these colors are perfect for watermelon. So the outer row of our little placemat, I'm just going to go in and paint it that Christmas green color. You don't have to tape off or anything like that. You can kind of feel the different layers, and it's not supposed to look perfect. Like a watermelon doesn't look perfect anyway, so you can kind of have fun with this. And I think these are going to look so cute on my table for summertime. I have like, I have a bee theme in there. But I did take down, my bee coffee bar because we switched it over to lemon. So I thought it would be kind of fun to do some fruit in my dining area in my kitchen. I'm going back with that Christmas green color and kind of making that outer green circle a little bit wider and the light green a little bit smaller. Now it's time for seeds. I want this to be durable, so I am going to use my paint pen. You could use vinyl for this as well, but I didn't know how well that would stick to this kind of material. So I am just trying to carefully figure out where my seeds would be because, again, it isn't a spiral pattern, so you can't, I guess you could if you wanted a spiral pattern of seeds, but I kind of want an even pattern. So I'm just going around the outside of my red part of my watermelon and just drawing little seeds on with my black paint pen. I'm just kind of estimating the distance between the seeds. And we have one row. I really wanted my watermelon seeds to only be on the outer parts of it. And so I'm going to do one more row. And this row, as you can see, I'm just alternating the seeds in between the row behind it. We have 2 rows of watermelon seeds, and that is all there is to it. Isn't that so cute? I think these placemats would be so cute for your home for summer, or if you're having a summer party or something like that. And I'm going to show you, they'd be really cute with a red plate. I have white plates, but they would still be super cute with a place setting because you can use the cute little watermelon napkins that they have at Dollar Tree as well. So I'm not going to only show you the placemat. I'm going to kind of show you what it looks like. This is how it looks with like one of my plates and one of those cute little watermelon napkins that I was talking about.
And I went ahead and like made a whole set of 4 to display on my table for summer. They're really fun. If you can't find the red one, you could paint the whole thing. But if you can find a red one, it's going to make your job a little bit easier.
Okay, next DIY, I'm going to do something kind of crazy, but kind of fun. So I'm going to use a Dollar Tree wood round, and I'm going to use a paper cutout of a watermelon from Dollar Tree. And I wanted to try to make a watermelon sunset over the ocean. So what I want to do is use the watermelon as the sun, like melting into the ocean, and just kind of make some wall art with it. Really outside the box, but I thought it would be really fun to try to do. So that's kind of what I'm thinking. See how the watermelon is going to kind of act as our sun? So we're going to have to make this wood round look, kind of like the ocean. I'm going to do like a really kind of abstract ocean scene. So what I do is this is Cloudless, a really light blue apple barrel paint that I get at Walmart. And I just paint the top part of the sign with that. And then I can go in and paint the bottom part with Caribbean blue. It's a little bit darker color of blue, but very similar. And I want my horizon to be, you know, about like halfway up the wood round or so. And I am going to paint it a little bit to make it look like, you know, different shades of blue in the ocean, but still very soft, very abstract. So I used that cloudless color that I used on top and a chunky brush and just kind of distressed my ocean part. And what I want to do is make it look like the watermelon is melting down into the ocean, and you're going to be able to see the reflection of the watermelon in the ocean is what I want to do. And then I think this is turquoise color too. I'm going in and kind of distressing with that too, kind of all over just to bring in like another shade of blue. And this was that Caribbean blue color. I was trying to make a like, you know, like kind of a darker horizon line right here. I didn't really have a dark enough blue though, so I'm going to add a dot of brown to my Caribbean blue and try to make a darker shade of blue just because I wanted kind of a little bit of a shadow to form my horizon line in my ocean. And I don't know, I don't think you could really see it in the end. And so I end up kind of using something else for that, but that's where I'm at so far with my ocean. So here is my sun or my watermelon. And it's just a paper cutout from the summer section at Dollar Tree. So I put a layer of Mod Podge on here and then just kind of sit that down. It's not going to cover the hanger or anything like that. So that's good. And just kind of have it match up with the horizon line that we did for the ocean. Now that I have that on there, I'm going to go I was trying to get that horizon line a little bit too. I'm using that same cloudless color because I don't think I got it like directly where I wanted it there, just to kind of touch that up a little bit. And now we can start working on the watermelon reflection. Now, this part was kind of experimental and it took me a lot of attempts to try to get it exactly the way I wanted it. But I wanted like red first, right? So I'm using that like fire red color and a chunky brush from Dollar Tree and just distressing a red. And then this color of acrylic is watermelon. And that is going to be my next color in the reflection. And as you can see, as we're getting farther away from the sun, we're going to make them skinnier. And I decided to mix a little orange with that watermelon to kind of give me a kind of a transition-y color from the red into like some lighter colors. And then I did white, and then I did that leaf green color for the very end, kind of like I would think the reflection would look like in the sunset in the ocean. Now, once I get it on there, I kind of play around with it a little bit. This is that same existing like Caribbean blue color. I go back and distress it slightly, kind of make it look a little bit more subtle. I'm also going to go ahead and distress my watermelon with that same blue color, just to kind of give it a little bit more character. And then with this, like the reflection in the ocean, I'm going to kind of work with mine until I'm super happy with it. Wanted a little yellow in it too. So I'm just using a tiny brush and just kind of distressing lightly all over. Just kind of that sun vibe that you would have if this were a sunset, but it's going to be a watermelon sunset, right? And I just kind of kept playing with it until I was happy with it. I decided I wanted a little bit more red. So I used that fire red color and I kind of like make it heavier. So I kind of go down like that, going back and distressing it with like my original blue color until I'm happy with it. I got like it on there at first and I was like, oh my gosh, I don't think this worked. And then I just kind of kept playing with it here, going back and distressing it with some blue if I thought I had it too colorful. And I did it until I was happy with it. I'm glad I stuck with it because my family loves it. They think it's so cute. So I'm sealing the whole thing down with just a coat of Mod Podge. It's going to help seal down that paper watermelon, kind of give everything like the same kind of matte finish. And this is what I was talking about for the horizon. I thought I would just go in. I have some of this like cotton twine from Dollar Tree from the little shelves that I use all the time for signs. And so I'm just going to cut off some twine for the horizon, just because I felt like I needed a little bit more of a physical border back here. And it's gonna, this is gonna be kind of a coastal watermelon project anyway, and it's gonna kind of add to that coastal feel. I do plan to frame it out with Dollar Tree white rope as well, because it's a thin sign from the Dollar Tree, and they're not like the flattest signs in the world. And whenever I frame them out with rope, I always think they look better, because it's gonna make them look chunkier and stuff like that too. Now, before I do that, though, I'm going to go ahead and use that same twine to make a hanger. I'm going to string that in through the back, and the best way I've found to do that is put a little hot glue on the end of it. It makes it like firm enough to go through there, but sometimes it still kind of gets stuck. I just use some pliers there to pull that one through, and I'm just going to knot that in the front, and we have a little hanger for our little watermelon sunset. You guys will have to let me know what you think about the final project. This one was definitely an experiment project, but I'm glad I made it. I think it was really fun. So once I have that twine on there, I'm going to go ahead and frame this out with rope. This is just a spare piece of rope I had. I think this is a thinner one, like the 11-foot white nautical rope from Dollar Tree. And I just want to attach it all the way around. I think it's going to give it a nice coastal vibe. So I'm going to start at the bottom and just hot glue this to the edge. Try to keep it as tight as I can. I don't want any gaps. And I want this to kind of, these signs, I don't know. I bought a whole case of these signs from dollartree.com. And I don't know if it's because I'm storing them. I'm storing them indoors, but, I'm in Florida. We have lots of humidity, but they are warped. And I don't remember them being warped when I got them. I don't know. So maybe you shouldn't buy these by the case. I was afraid I wouldn't be able to find these in stores, and they are kind of hit or miss. If you saw my community post, you saw that I was just at one of our Dollar Trees just turned to a Dollar Tree Plus the other day for the first time. And then one of my viewers was telling me that it's not the only one. More than one has switched. I have to admit I wasn't impressed. Like, I didn't buy anything from the Dollar Tree Plus section. I noticed it was just like Five Below. The items were like the same kind of items that Five Below would have, and they were about the same prices. Nothing really craft-wise that I could find, no. So as you can see, I'm still kind of messing with my reflection. I did go in and distress it with a little bit more blue, just to kind of break it up, make it a little bit more subtle. And then I decided that it'd be kind of fun to outline the watermelon sun with that same twine that we used for the hanger and for the horizon. And I thought that would kind of help hide the fact that that was like a piece of cardboard on the sign. And kind of frame that out a little bit. So I just use my fine tip Surebonder hot glue gun to go around that, because it's kind of a thin piece of rope and it's kind of hard to do a thin enough bead with my Ryobi glue gun. And that is it. I think I'm finally happy with my little watermelon sunset. It was definitely kind of an experiment. It took me out of my comfort zone a little bit, but I think it's really fun. I think it's a fun idea. And something cute and whimsical you can make for your home for summer. Little watermelon sunset.
And don't be afraid to use some of those paper items from the summer aisle at Dollar Tree to actually make home decor. They don't have to be just for parties, but I thought this was really whimsical and fun.
Okay, the next DIY, I found this great little galvanized metal tray on clearance at Target Dollar Spot for $2.50. They had all of this great stuff for half off. And so I thought I wanted to DIY it, but I wanted something not permanent. I wanted something for summer that I could DIY this tray, but something that I can just take apart, because that tray is like really cool. I don't want to damage it with paint or anything like that. Now I found that this little round wood round sign from the Dollar Tree would fit perfectly in there. So I thought we could do a little tray inset into the tray that we could decorate. That way I would not damage my tray at all. So I am just taking the staples off the back of the sign, because I removed the little wood beads to kind of give me a smooth surface. This sign does kind of have a frame on it and stuff like that, but I don't really need that. But look, It's a perfect fit. It fits like a glove, right? So we can just decorate that. Now I want it to be usable so I can use this tray for drinks or whatever. And so I thought red vinyl would be perfect. This is Dollar Tree vinyl. I told you I use it for everything except for my Cricut. And so I just peel and stick this bright red vinyl right on the back of that sign. Just going to use the back so I'll have a nice flat surface. And kind of smooth that out all around. Now it's so easy to cut through this. I'm just using a sanding block. And these new sanding blocks from Dollar Tree with the handles are really cool. I just found these the other day at one of my Dollar Trees. And I just sand all the way around. And it cuts right through that vinyl, gives me a perfect cut. And this is going to look like, you know, the inside of our watermelon. And I think the vinyl will be fine. I can put drinks or whatever on there, and I don't think it's going to damage it at all. Now, remember, I cut out these little black watermelon seeds earlier on my Cricut. So I'm just going to kind of do a seed pattern on here, just kind of by peeling and sticking. I kind of started doing like opposite sides just for spacing, kind of like a clock, right? And then fill it in. I guess it's exactly like a clock because it looks like I'm doing like 12 all the way around for my outer row of seeds. Now I did want to do 2 rows, so the next row I'm just going to kind of alternate about halfway in between and just kind of peel and stick those. The great thing is if you're not happy with where you put them, you can just kind of pick them up and rearrange them. But I kind of only want to do 2 rows of seeds on this one as well, kind of like we did with the watermelon placemats. And the middle part of the watermelon we'll just leave plain. Now for the outer edge of the watermelon, I thought this green like burlap ribbon from the Dollar Tree would be perfect. I could just wrap that around, again, not causing any damage to this great little galvanized metal sign. I didn't want anything permanent. I just wanted something cute for summer. And you know what? If you picked up a couple of these, you know, you could always make this into a tier tray as well. My last watermelon video that I just did, I showed you how to make a watermelon tier tray with supplies from the Dollar Tree, and that was super fun. So I just do a little bead of hot glue. That's basically the only thing I'm going to do to this. So that'll be easy to pull off when I'm done with this tray for summer. And I just wrap my green ribbon all the way around, hot gluing it to itself. I'm not going to decorate like the inside of the tray around the edges because that little watermelon fits in there perfectly. I thought that would get in the way. So we're just going to decorate the outside of it there with the green. If you wanted to, you could always paint stripes on that ribbon as well. And then I'm just going to put the middle part of our watermelon down inside our tray. And look how cute. So easy. That tray was only $2.50, and everything is temporary, so that nothing permanent, but it looks like a little watermelon. So I think it's so cute and practical. What do you guys think about this one? Another little fun idea. You could use this for a display. I'm actually going to use mine as a tray. And so I'm just going to kind of show it to you here flat like I would use it for a tray. But this would be cute, kind of like standing up on its side too.
I actually used mine on my coffee bar to hold like all my flavors and stuff I like to use to make my coffee taste better. And it was super cute and festive for summer and really easy to repurpose the tray.
Okay, this is one of the little watermelon signs from Dollar Tree. Look how cute this is. Sweet summertime. Like, it really doesn't need much. I wanted to use some of these summer signs from the Dollar Tree to kind of fill that cabinet out where we had that little tier tray before, to kind of make a little summer vibe cabinet. Now, I did want to tone down the glitter a little bit, so I did use a paint pen. And this is like a light blue color. I wanted to bring in a little bit more blue on this one. There is a blue like letter about this color in summer. And I'm just going over all of the glitter with that to kind of tone that down a little bit. It doesn't completely hide it, but then I'm also going to use matte Mod Podge all over the front of it to tone the glitter down even more. But the signs are really cute. They would be perfect if they didn't use glitter on them. I did go in with a second coat of Mod Podge just to make it look a little bit more matte, and I like the way that turned out. Now I don't need the hanger on the top, so I just tied a simple little twine bow to cover that up. I want to make this a standing sign for my cabinet for summer. And so this is going to be a very quick, easy little watermelon DIY. I just need a way to stand it up. And I'm just going to use some of these Jenga blocks from Five Below here. They're nice and heavy, and I think it's going to make a nice little stand here for the back. Whenever I glue these to the back, I make sure I don't go all the way down to the bottom of the project because you want your project to slightly lean back. That way it doesn't want to tip over because this is a really kind of big sign. And I think that is going to work, our little sweet summertime sign. And this is how it turned out. I think it's so cute. I love the colors.
And you can really take those cute little summer signs from the Dollar Tree and make them a little bit better, add them to your decor. Brings a lot of fun and sunshine with the fruit theme. And the watermelon signs are some of my favorites. It looks really good in my cabinet here for summertime.
This is another Dollar Tree summer sign. It says, "Hello, Summer." Nice long sign, and I thought we could actually make this like a standing sign as well. I have kind of a short shelf on that cabinet, and this will almost fill the entire thing up. It's got watermelons, oranges, limes, pineapple, lemons, kind of everything we've been using today. Tie it all together, and it says, "Hello, Summer." Again, glitter. So I'm toning that down with some more Mod Podge. Covering the entire sign. I love that it has a blue background because that kind of makes it go with all of the blue that I have in my house. And I just want to make it a standing sign as well. So it doesn't have any holes or anything like that that I have to fill up, but I just need to make a stand. And again, I'm using some of those Jenga blocks from Five Below. I usually pick these up every spring at Five Below. They were like $10 for a giant box of them, and then I think they went up to $12 the last time I bought them. But this year I did not pick any up. I have not been in there, and I don't know if they still have them. But I love them for crafting. And this is the shelf that I thought that would be perfect for. Look how it's just the right size.
And it not only just has watermelon, it has all of the summer fruits. Super cute. It's going to tie in well with all the items we made for that tier tray.
Now, this is another quick, easy Dollar Tree project. Another sign from the Dollar Tree. This is the little jar that says "Sweet Summer Sunshine," and it's got like lemons and watermelon in it. And I'm going to kind of try to make mine look a little bit better too. So I took the hanger off, and then I'm just using that same light blue paint pen that we used before for the other watermelon sign. And it'll kind of tie in with that blue sign that we just did. And just painting over the top of the glitter. Kind of bring a little bit of blue into this project just for fun. And kind of outline that back with a little bit of white too, just to clean that up. I think these little jar signs are so cute from the Dollar Tree. I touch up my green and my pink a little bit too, just because I thought it would this had so much glitter on it. I thought that might tone it down a little bit, and it does help. If this sign didn't have glitter, I think it would be perfect. I like glitter sometimes, but only very rarely. So the little fruit and stuff that's attached to it has some glitter on it as well. So I'm going to use some Mod Podge kind of over everything to tone down any glitter that you can still see. And any glitter that I haven't painted over yet, like on the little watermelon rinds and stuff like that, and the fruit on the top. And this was a hanging sign, so there are holes in the top of the jar, but I think it's fine. I don't think it's real noticeable. So I just need to kind of make a stand for this one too, and I think that this will fill up my cabinet for summer. So again, those are some of the Five Below blocks. And I'm just going to glue a couple together. And this is going to make it weighted down and make it really a lot sturdier than just a thin Dollar Tree sign. And I just glue that jar right to the top, just like that. And that is another quick, easy little watermelon DIY. This is how it turned out. I think it looks way better with a little bit of blue on there, to be honest. But I did touch up all of the paint on there and Mod Podged it to make it look more matte finish.
Now, if you can find like the mug shape and it's not watermelon or fruit, you could totally remake it really easily. Add some of the little watermelon signs from the Dollar Tree or use your imagination like that.
Now I wanted to make another like little fruit sign for that cabinet, and this is one of their little hanging directional arrow signs for summer. And I want mine to be like on a stand, like where it looks like it's actually directional arrows and not just hung together like by ribbon. But I think it's really bright, colorful. It's got watermelons, pineapples, all kinds of fruit all over the front of it. It says sweet summer, says fruit stand, and juice bar. And of course, I want to tone down that glitter Dollar Tree. So I use matte Mod Podge over the top of the whole sign to try to tone that glitter down just a little bit. Now for the stand, I wanted something kind of heavy duty, so I'm going to use just one of these chunky long signs from Dollar Tree. Doesn't matter which one it is, because we are actually just going to kind of chop this up and kind of make a stand that's going to be perfect for my cabinet. I'm going to cut it right about there with my saw. Basically, I want to make the stick to go straight up. That will attach all my directional arrow signs. But then with the rest of it, I actually want to make 2 little blocks to go on each side to make a little like T shape to make it stand up. So the first thing I'm going to do is just kind of try to cover up that design that's on there, kind of give myself a blank canvas to work with. So I'm just using some ivory chalk paint to cover up all the glitter and chaos that was on that sign. And then we can kind of decorate these to go a little bit more with my decor. And for burlap, I'm actually going to use like the skinnier burlap ribbon from the Dollar Tree. They do have this end larger now, but this actually worked out quite well for the size. I did need to trim it down a tiny bit. And then I just Mod Podged that down. And it had that white canvas or the white color below it, so you can't see through it. So it's definitely important to paint them first. And then I'm going to cover the 2 blocks with that same burlap ribbon, just with some more Mod Podge. Just cut down 2 little squares and cover both of those. And you guys know I love burlap with anything, and burlap goes with fruit as well. So now it is just a matter of putting this together. I left the ribbon on there kind of for spacing so I would know exactly what I need to do to attach this to our sign. And I'm just going to use some hot glue, attach this one right to the top of it, centering that right on our pole. And then using that ribbon for spacing, I'm going to glue the second one down and the third. And I love these signs. They're so colorful. I like them a lot better, though, when I tone down the glitter on them. And then just using a pair of pliers, we're just going to rip the staples and ribbons off of the back of it now that we have it attached to our sign. And just going to clean up any of the staples as well there. And then one of these little blocks on each side should make a really nice little sturdy base because these things are so thick and chunky. So I'm just going to attach those to that with hot glue. And it doesn't take away from the design at all. It just made that sign look so much more high-end than it looked before. And then I thought maybe a little colored ribbon. I picked up this really cute plaid ribbon at Dollar Tree just for a splash of color across the front. I'm just going to hot glue that right over my burlap. And that's all there is to it. Another quick, easy little fruit or watermelon DIY for summer. And I have it right next to my sweet summertime, a sign there in the cabinet. And here is a closer view.
And I really like turning those little direction arrow signs into standing signs like this. I did this with a luau theme as well, and a really fun use for those little hanging signs. Okay, up next is a Watermelon's Tier Tray DIY for summer with tons of fun little Dollar Tree DIYs, all with a watermelon theme. So for the first project, I'm actually just starting out with some foam board from Dollar Tree, and I want to make a watermelon. These are makeup brush cleaners that look like watermelon, and so I grabbed two of them so I could do a whole watermelon. And the purpose of the foam board is just to give it some structure so I can make like an open watermelon for my tier tray. So I just cut down a circle of the foam board. You could use whatever you have. Any kind of like cardboard, something like that would work well for this. I just want like a perfect circle that I can put these on. The little makeup brush cleaners have like suction cups on the back of them. I guess for the purpose that they're supposed to be used for. I just put some hot glue on the back of those so I could glue that to the foam board. And if you wanted to do half, or you can only find one of these, that would be really cute too. You would have like a slice of watermelon. But for this one, I wanted to do a full watermelon to do a cute little display for my watermelon tier tray. I was able to find lots of watermelon items at Dollar Tree for this tier tray. Now, I don't want you to see the foam board on the back, so I'm just going to use some Dollar Tree rope and some hot glue and line that to make it look a little bit better and less like a foam board and makeup brush cleaner. You never know if you go every aisle at Dollar Tree what you're going to find. They have great things like watermelon and stuff like that in so many different items that you would not expect, and you'll be seeing a lot of those in this video. I just burn off the fuzzies and then continue to glue that down all the way around to make it a solid piece. I do want to stand it up. I'm just going to use a wood block for that. This is one of those Jenga blocks from Five Below, the giant Jenga blocks. It doesn't matter, just some way to stand it up for your tier tray if you're going to be using it for display. So a really kind of whimsical, unexpected watermelon. It turned out really cute though. It's nice and tall. I'm going to put it towards the back of my tier tray here in my kitchen. Now for the next DIY, I'm just using a wood crate from the Dollar Tree, and I'm just going to do a simple stain on that with some antique wax by Waverly. This is going to be actually a decorative piece and a functional piece for my tier tray. Since this is in my kitchen, I want it to be able to hold napkins, and I found some really cute watermelon napkins at Dollar Tree. So I thought we would make a really cute little like watermelon bin that we can use to display those. And anytime I have wood like this, I do like to stain it or even stain it with paint to bring out that beautiful like wood grain and really makes it look a lot better. Since this is going to be a functional piece, I really want it to be stained all over. So I went ahead and did the inside and the bottom, just wiping off all the excess antique wax by Waverly with a paper towel. I'm not going to leave it plain though. I am going to decorate it. I found this really cute watermelon sign for $1 at Dollar General. And it has like tassel on it and wood beads. I don't need any of that. So I'm just going to go ahead and remove that by pulling those out of the back. But it has a really cute little watermelon image on it that I thought would be cute for this box. Dollar Tree also has lots of watermelon and like fruit themed summer signs. This one is a slice that says Hello Summer. So I thought that was perfect. I am just going to use a little bit of wood glue to attach that to my sign and a little bit of hot glue just to keep it on. And I think this is going to be a really cute little napkin dispenser for my tier tray. Really simple, but really pretty. Now they have these like fruit themed napkins every year, every summer at Dollar Tree. I love the watermelon ones. I've made so many cute things with these, but these are actually going to be functional and we're going to use them as napkins for my kitchen. So a decorative piece, but also functional, especially on my kitchen counter. I'm just going to sit those right back here. I think that looks pretty good. It's a taller piece, so I can kind of put it towards the back a little bit, but also where I can get it. And then this is just a Dollar Tree fruit sign from the Dollar Tree. It has miscellaneous fruit on there, but I noticed it had a watermelon slice. So I'm actually going to kind of DIY that into a simple little sign for my tier tray. It was covered in glitter, which a lot of Dollar Tree signs are. I really wasn't going for the glitter theme on this one. So I just toned it down with some matte finish Mod Podge to take away a little bit of that sparkle. And I just want to make it into a cute little sign. So I'm going to use some Jenga blocks from Dollar Tree just to make a little stand here for the back, just by gluing them together. So that's always another option to make your artwork displayed on a tier tray by using items from the Dollar Tree. So I thought 4 would be plenty. I just glued those onto the back, making a little base to make it stand up just like that. And we're going to put it right over here. A super easy little sign for the tier tray. The next item is just a play ball that I got at Dollar Tree. It was already green. It had a little face on it. I'm just going to modify it, make it look like a watermelon. So I'm using, it's already green, but I'm using like a darker color of green that really reminded me of a watermelon. And it's actually a chalk paint, but it doesn't really matter. I'm going to switch up to acrylic for the like striations. I just use a chunky brush from Dollar Tree with like a lighter color of green to do those like stripes kind of pattern that you would see on a watermelon, and take this little play ball and make it look like a watermelon. I thought that was a fun idea. We're just going to kind of stand it up here against the pole of my tier tray. Now, I told you there's lots of unexpected items at Dollar Tree. One of them is they have these little lip gloss that look like watermelon. I thought these were so cute, and I'm just going to sit that on my tier tray. Don't have to do anything to it, and later I can use it for a lip gloss. I wanted to also DIY a watermelon gnome, and so I picked up one of these little gnomes from Dollar Tree. It was blue, but I'm going to paint it bright red using some chalk paint all along except for like the brim of its hat that kind of goes around its face, because I want to make this look like a watermelon gnome. These are a great size for a tier tray. I really just have to cover up all that blue color, and I do that using some red paint. Now for the border of the hat, I am doing it in different shades of green to look like the rind of a watermelon. So I just use a couple of paint pens and a couple different shades of green. I do the darker green on the outside with like a lighter green stripe on the inside. Sorry, this is a little bit shaky. This is my old filming and editing on this one. But then I just use a black paint pen to do little watermelon seeds all over the hat. And I love how this turned out. Very whimsical and cute. Now, I also picked up these little erasers from the school supply aisle at Dollar Tree, and they had a little watermelon eraser, so I thought that would be cute to add to my gnome too. I can make it look like he is holding a little watermelon, like where I would think that his hand would be. So I just use a little hot glue and glue the eraser on there. We're going to be using lots of unexpected items like that from the Dollar Tree because they have just so many watermelon items. We're going to put our little watermelon gnome right here in front. Now, this is actually a dog toy. I got this on clearance, the summer section at Target, and I thought it was perfect. It's a little watermelon wedge for a tier tray. It actually looks really cute. It squeaks too. I'm going to lay that little slice of watermelon right here in the front. I always like to gather whatever item I can find in that theme, and this is no exception. This is one of the watermelon summer cups from the Dollar Tree. I thought we could kind of transform it, make it look less like plastic, and make it into a little watermelon planter that we can use to, display some florals on the tier tray. It is glossy plastic, and so to try to take away some of that glossy finish that makes it obviously plastic, I went over the whole thing with just some matte Mod Podge to tone down that plastic shininess and to give it like some more texture, a little bit more character. I also distress it slightly with some ivory and a chunky brush to kind of give it more of a rustic farmhouse vibe, but That step is totally optional, only if you want yours to look kind of aged, and I really was trying to get away from that plastic feel of it. And then for the lid, it's got like the little screw lid, so I need to kind of disguise that a little bit. I'm going to do that with some Dollar Tree ribbon and a green and white gingham pattern. I thought that would look really good against the red watermelon and definitely go with this theme. I love the gingham ribbons from the Dollar Tree. I think they're so cute. And I just hot glue that around the screw lid of it so it no longer looks like a cup and it can be a little watermelon vase. For the greenery, I picked this from the Dollar Tree because it's red and green on the leaves, and that really reminds me of watermelon. So I thought that would be fun. I do have to cut a little bit of foam to put down inside of it so that I can arrange the greenery in there and make a little floral display there for my tier tray. I always like to have a plant of some kind on my tier tray if I can manage it. And you wouldn't necessarily think this kind of plant for a watermelon, but it's got the watermelon color, so I think it's going to be perfect for that. So I just put a little bit of foam in there and then just cutting the greenery apart so I can arrange it exactly how I like it, filling up our little DIY watermelon vase. And it's just the perfect size for a tier tray. If you're worried about it falling over, you might need to weigh down the bottom with some pebbles or something like that, but I think it's going to be fine. A nice tall piece to fill out the back of my tier tray right here, and I think that looks super cute. And the matte finish and the distressing definitely takes away that plastic finish. I also found this summer cup at the Dollar Tree. It's like a watermelon cup, and I'm going to use it to display some straws, some red and white straws, so it's also a functional piece that I got at the Dollar Tree, just some paper straws, and I think that would be cute as well. The next DIY is actually a makeup bag that I got at Dollar Tree that looks like a watermelon. I'm going to DIY it to make it look like a little watermelon pillow. So I do that by just simply taking some polyfill fluff from an old pillow and filling it up and zipping it. I want it to kind of be like stand as like a watermelon slice like that. I'm going to go ahead and make it a little bit fuller. Super cute, and definitely the makeup aisle. You're going to find some watermelon stuff at your Dollar Tree. Just kind of check everything. The red watermelon will definitely stand out to you to see what you can find. And I'm going to use another one of the red watermelon slice lip gloss to make a cute little sign. So I took one of these tile signs from the Dollar Tree, and we're going to DIY this and make it really cute little custom watermelon sign for the tier tray. I'm just using some green chalk paint that kind of reminded me of a watermelon color, and I am going over the frame. I used chalk paint because I thought it might help it stick better. These little tile frames like this are usually finished, so they're a little bit more challenging to paint, but I'm just going to do some thin layers and go over it a couple of times until I get just a plain green frame. You might be able to find a green framed sign already at Dollar Tree. I have found some before. Now for the tile sign, I am going to use the blank side for my sign, but I'm also going to cover up the back of it just so it's not obvious that it wasn't a sign already. I do that to cover up the design with just a little bit of contact paper from the Dollar Tree that look like wood. And then I cut down some Dollar Tree red vinyl in a like the skinny font that says sweet. Very simple. And I'm going to put that on that white tile sign just like that. And then I'll be adding the watermelon lip gloss to the bottom of it. It's kind of a rough paint job, but I really wanted a distressed look. I also distress it with a little bit of ivory to kind of give me a distressed green. It's going to remind me of watermelon anyway to make this little custom sign. Easy peasy. I mean, just a couple of items from the Dollar Tree and even Dollar Tree vinyl that I used on my Cricut to spell out the word sweet. I use a little hot glue on the inside of the frame and glue my tile right back in place, and then I can take that Dollar Tree lip gloss and I'm just going to attach that right here on the front with a little bit of hot glue. Super cute. Totally goes with the theme. And I always love to have a sign for a tier tray if I can do it. And this one is perfect. Now, this is actually a watermelon pencil sharpener. I thought it was really cute too. I was collecting watermelons as I went around Dollar Tree, and I thought I could make a little custom sign with that. I do want it to stand up. And so the pencil sharpener is going to get a little Jenga block glued to it just to make it stand up. And you would never know by looking at it that it's actually a pencil sharpener. I like the fact that it's pink watermelon instead of red, so it gives a little variety to our tier tray. Now for the next DIY, I picked up a red and a green long candle from the Dollar Tree, and we're going to DIY a watermelon candle. I absolutely love how this turned out. It's so cute. I thought red and green is all I would need for like the rind, the red for the watermelon part. It's just a matter of melting them down. I picked up a clear glass candle holder that I thought would be perfect. This is one with like the rope handle. I think it's really cute from the Dollar Tree, and we're going to melt down the candle and pour it in there in a couple of different layers to form a watermelon. So I'm actually using the existing wick that was inside one of those candles, and I just attach it to the middle there. Keep it in place. I do a little bit of the green, not all of it, because I only want the green to be the rind of it. And I let that set up a little bit to harden so that I could then change colors. And I melted down the red candle as well. And I kind of lost the footage of that, but I poured that on top of the green one that you see right there to fill up the rest of the candle holder. I am going to do watermelon seeds, but I thought it would be easier to add it to the outside of the watermelon candle after I get this to set up. So you might want to use a popsicle stick or something to make your wick stand straight up while your wax is still hot like that. But let me show you how it looks. I'm going to trim down the wick now that it's set up. And so a red candle on top of a green candle for the watermelon rind. And then I'm just going to make sure I have all the wax off the outside of it. And then for watermelon seeds, I'm just going to use a paint pen. And all you have to do is like a teardrop shape. It's so easy. Just kind of an oval with like a pointy end. And I just go over all of the red part to draw my watermelon seeds on. And this turned out so cute. It's a perfect size candle for a tier tray. It was a really fun DIY to make. And watermelon crafts can be so fun. That's how it turned out. I think it's perfect. And it's able to be burned as well as a real candle. I'm going to put it right here next to our little sweet sign. Super cute to finish off that tier tray. But I also like to have a wood bead garland, and so I'm actually going to DIY my own. I have some wood beads. I have these from Amazon in different shapes, but you can also get these at Dollar Tree now. You might even find them already painted, but if you want to do custom colors like this, just get the raw wood. I just put them on Dollar Tree skewers to make them easier to paint. And I'm just using whatever colors I had. I'd use like a darker green, a lighter green for some, and then I'm going to use some bright red for some, all watermelon colors. And we can string our own little custom wood bead garland for this tier tray. For the red, I thought it would be really cute to give it some seeds. And so I used my black paint pen and just draw little teardrop shapes all over those. I also distressed my darker green with some lighter green to make them look like little watermelons. And we're going to string these all along. I use a large needle, some twine from the Dollar Tree, and I just start putting them on. I'm also using some natural wood in there for a little bit of variety. And I just string them into a pattern, a rather short a wood bead garland. And I already had a tassel from one of those signs earlier, so I might as well use it. And I just tie that on to the end. I do shorten it a little bit because this is a pretty small wood bead garland. And then for the end of it, I'm actually using some of these key holder, they're like watermelon key toppers from the Dollar Tree. I did 2 of them back to back for a little slice of watermelon at the end. And then they also have, I think, even watermelon like luggage tags. They have so many cute watermelon items that you might be able to find at the Dollar Tree. I just tie that to my wood bead garland, kind of feeding my excess twine up into my wood bead garland, kind of hiding it. And we have a custom little watermelon wood bead garland to finish off this top tier. I'm going to have the watermelon kind of come off the side like that and wind the wood bead garland around the top of it. Super fun for summer. It is complete. I will give you a little sneak peek of it, and then I will give you a little bit closer look here in the final reveal, which is coming up right after this. Isn't that such a fun theme for a summer tier tray? I love it. Now it is time for that final reveal. Be sure to let me know which watermelon DIY was your favorite down in the comments below. And don't forget to check out my second channel, Crafty Little Beach, for individual DIYs on your phone. Enjoy!
Middle of the road, it's just a feeling of a distant melody unknown. I was doing fine, I minded my own business till the day you took me home. You came into my life like a sweet embrace, swept me off my feet and made me whole again. You came in my life, I wanna see your face. Never will I be the same again. Well, I thought I knew what life was all about. That song had already been sung. I was going on, still minding my own business. Never knew that life had just begun. You came into my life like a sweet embrace, swept me off my feet and made me whole again. You came in my life, I wanna see your face. Never will I be the same again. I wanna see your face again, oh let me see your face again. I'm far from being satisfied yet. I have to see your face again, oh let me see your face again, and take me to the place we first met. You came into my life like a sweet embrace, swept me off my feet and made me whole again. You came in my life, I wanna see your face. Never will I be the same again. Never will I be the same again. Middle of the road, it's just a feeling of a distant melody unknown. I was doing fine, I minded my own business till the day you took me home. You came into my life like a sweet embrace, swept me off my feet and made me whole again. You came in my life, I wanna see your face. Never will I be the same again.
Thank you so much for making it all the way to the end of today's watermelon crafting DIY video. I'd also like to give a huge thank you to all of my YouTube members for supporting my channel. Thank you to Melinda Elizabeth, Jamie Job, Susan Edmonds, Janae Farrington, Pamelia Wren, Donna Schreiner, I Am Mojo Jojo, Marin Christensen, Adrian Brolt, Debbie Middleton, Donna Tanner, Kim Rogers, Maria Cruz Pagan, Pal Puppy Life, Renee Albanese, Lori Hollingsworth, Mindy Hupp, and Chinny. I really appreciate your support. If you would like to become a Crafty Beach Bum member too, all you have to do is hit the join button next to today's video. You're going to get early ad-free access to my content here on YouTube, a badge next to your name, you comment down below, and a shout out in every video. And don't forget to like this video if you enjoyed it, and please subscribe. I know about 65% of you are not subscribed, so I would really appreciate it. And anytime that you can like, comment, and share, it's really going to help my channel. Things are really slow out here in these YouTube streets this summer. And I would also love to see what you've been crafting. If you have made any DIYs recently, be sure to share them with us in our private Facebook group, which is always linked in the description of my videos. We would love to see them, especially if you've made one of my projects. I would really appreciate that. And if you'd like more summer crafting inspiration, be sure to check out one of these videos right here. And until next time, happy crafting.